Gunshots cracked through the air just as Amina Brooks's knee hit the marble floor. The silver tray she was carrying flew from her hands, glasses smashing, ice skidding across the polished tiles. A bullet shattered the tall mirror behind her, raining glittering shards over her braided head. "Down!" someone shouted. She was already there, heart pounding, ears ringing. This was supposed to be her first night as a maid, cleaning expensive surfaces, keeping quiet, getting paid. Not dodging bullets in a Mafia boss's mansion. Boots thundered nearby. Amina pressed herself flat against the floor, the black skirt of her uniform fanning out around her. Men in dark suits were sprinting across the massive foyer, guns drawn. Incoming from the east wing. They breached the front gate. Cover the boss! Boss. Right, the boss. The name she'd heard whispered all over the city, half rumor, half warning. Dominic Moretti. She'd never seen him in person, only his silhouette in photos. Cold eyes, sharp jaw, expensive suits, untouchable, dangerous, the kind of man you avoided even in your thoughts. A bullet pinged off the staircase railing, inches from her hand. Okay, maybe this was a mistake, she thought wildly. Maybe she should have taken the diner job with bad tips instead of the housekeeper job with great pay and possible mortality. A heavy shadow fell over her. "Move!" Two strong hands grabbed her under the arms and yanked her behind the thick marble pillar. Amina gasped as her back slammed against cool stone. "What the hell are you doing in the open?" A low voice growled in her ear. She looked up and froze. He was taller than she expected. Broad shoulders, black dress shirt open at the collar, dark hair swept back. His eyes were a striking steel gray, like storm clouds that hadn't decided whether to break. Dominic Moretti. Of course. Amina swallowed. "I was serving drinks." He stared at her like she'd said she was juggling grenades. In the middle of a firefight. "I didn't start the firefight," she whispered harshly. "I was told to walk through with the tray." A bullet chewed into the corner of the pillar, spraying stone dust over them. Dominic turned, putting his body between her and the direction of the shots. "Stay down," he ordered. "Wasn't planning to go dancing," she muttered, pressing closer to the marble. His mouth twitched. He leaned out, fired 3 quick shots with calm precision. Somewhere out of sight, someone screamed. Another man ducked behind the pillar opposite them. "Boss, we've got at least 6 inside," he said, breathing hard. "We've locked the staff in the west wing, but—" His eyes landed on Amina. "The hell? She's not secured?" "Obviously," Amina said. "Hi, I'm she." Dominic didn't look away from the hallway he was covering. "Get her out," he told the man. "Take her to the service stairs." The man nodded, reaching for Amina. She jerked back. "I can walk by myself, thanks." Dominic finally glanced down at her. Even under fire, his gaze was steady, assessing, like he was cataloging every detail. "How long have you worked here?" he asked. 3 hours. A beat. He huffed a low, disbelieving sound. 3 hours and already in the line of fire. "Trust me, this isn't my preferred work environment." "Then survive tonight," he said, tone rough. "You can complain in the morning." He turned away again, firing down the hall with terrifying calm. The other man grabbed her wrist. "Come on." Amina went, though every step felt like walking on air. They darted behind overturned furniture, through a side door, into a narrow corridor that smelled of cleaning chemicals and expensive air freshener. "Who are they?" she asked, panting. "People who think they can touch what's his," the man snapped, pushing her ahead. "Keep moving." "Touch what's his, you mean the house, the operations, the money, all of it." And people say capitalism is aggressive, she muttered. The man shot her a quick, surprised look. You talk a lot for someone under attack. My brain panics with words, she said. It's either this or screaming. Pick your poison. He dragged her into a small storage room, flicked on a dim light, and shut the door. Stay here until someone comes for you. Don't open this door for anybody except Luca or the boss. You understand? Wait, she said. What's your name? Marco. Marco, am I going to die here? He hesitated, then shook his head once. Not if he's still breathing. He jerked his chin upward toward the direction of the foyer, then slipped out and locked the door. The silence that followed felt wrong. Gunshots still echoed faintly in the distance, but in this room, surrounded by mops, folded tablecloths, and stacked boxes of champagne flutes, Amina felt like she'd fallen out of reality. She pressed her hands to her knees, bent over, and exhaled until the air shaking in her chest finally slowed. Okay, she whispered to herself. You're fine. You're fine. This is temporary. You get the money, you get out. That's the plan, remember? Her mother's face flashed in her mind. Tired eyes, gentle smile, the hospital bed swallowing her small frame. The bills had been coming in thick stacks. The city didn't care about desperate daughters, but Dominic Moretti did. At least enough to pay obscene wages for house staff in one of the safest properties in the country. She let out a humorless breath. Lies, she muttered. Pretty, gun-filled lies. The gunfire gradually died down. Shouts took over, then low murmurs, footsteps. Someone screamed once and was abruptly cut off. Time stretched. By the time someone knocked on the door, her legs had gone tense from crouching. Amina. The voice was deep, smooth, unmistakable. It's me. Her fingers tightened on the mop handle she'd picked up just in case. Prove it. A quiet pause. Then, you told me this isn't your preferred work environment. I told you to survive so you can complain in the morning. She slowly lowered the mop. Doors open. It swung inward. Dominic filled the doorway, shirt slightly rumpled, a speck of blood on his collar that didn't look like his. His eyes swept over her quickly, checking for injuries. She straightened, forcing a calm she didn't quite feel. So, is this a normal Tuesday? He stared at her for a moment, then something almost like surprise and amusement crossed his features. You're still making jokes. It's that or throwing up, she said. I picked the one that doesn't make the floor smell worse. He stepped into the room, closing the door behind him. Suddenly the space felt much smaller. You weren't hit, he said more than asked. Unless emotional trauma counts, no. Good. His shoulders loosened a fraction. They're gone. Dead or gone? She asked. He held her gaze. Gone enough that they won't bother you tonight. She swallowed, trying not to guess which answer he wasn't saying out loud. Does this happen a lot? Not as often as people think, Dominic said, but often enough that you should have hidden the moment you heard the first shot. I'm new, she reminded him. Orientation didn't include what to do when someone tries to murder everyone. I'll have HR update the handbook, he said dryly. Her lips twitched despite everything. HR? You have HR? Of course, he replied. Even criminals have paperwork. He was close enough now that she could see the faint scar near his jawline, the tiny crease between his brows when he looked at her like this. Intensely, like she was a problem he wanted to solve. Why are you here? She asked quietly. Personally, shouldn't you be counting bodies or whatever? Marco said you asked if you were going to die, Dominic replied. I came to tell you personally that you're not. She blinked. You do that for all your maids? No. Then why me? He regarded her for a long moment. Because you're still standing. That's a low bar. In this house. His gaze flicked slowly over her face. It's higher than you think. Her chest thumped a little harder. She didn't want it to. She didn't want anything about this man to have any effect on her. But there was something in his eyes now that hadn't been there before. Something like interest. Focus sharpened to a point. She shifted, raising her chin. Is it over? Can I go home? Not tonight. His tone turned matter-of-fact. The police will have questions, and I don't let my staff walk out right after a hit. She flinched at the casual way he said it. I have my mother at home. She's sick. She's expecting me. We'll send someone to sit with her, he said. What? Her eyes widened. No, you can't just send some random guy to my mother's house. Not random. His voice stayed even. One of my people. She'll be safer, and so will you. Anyone who came here tonight might look for witnesses later. I don't take chances. Amina's skin went cold. Witnesses? You didn't see anything. It came out half statement, half warning. She met his gaze. I saw you pull me behind a pillar and risk getting shot for someone you don't even know. Something flickered in his eyes. That's not a crime. In your world, it might be, she said softly. The corner of his mouth tugged slightly. Maybe. He took a small step closer. How do you feel? He asked. She let out a shaky laugh. Like I survived a movie but didn't get paid enough. Your pay will reflect tonight, Dominic said. Consider it hazard compensation. I don't want blood money, she shot back, then winced. Sorry, that came out honest, he said. I've had worse. I took this job because it paid well, not because I wanted to get dragged into this. She gestured vaguely toward the hall, the house, his entire world. My mom needs her medicine. I don't have time to be dramatic or dead. Good, he said quietly. I don't want you dead either. Their eyes locked. For a moment, the world outside the storage room didn't exist. Then Dominic blinked and stepped back. The moment severed. You'll be given a room for the night, he said. Try to sleep. Tomorrow we'll reassess your position here. That sounds like a nice way of saying I'm fired, she muttered. It's a nice way of saying I want you to stay alive long enough to decide if you still want the job. You mean I have a choice? His gaze softened barely. Everyone has a choice. Most just don't like their options. He opened the door, then paused, glancing back at her. Amina. Her name in his mouth sounded different, personal, heavy. Yeah? She managed. You handled tonight better than men who've been on my payroll for years. His eyes were sharp, appraising. Don't let anyone here treat you like you're less. She blinked. Is that an order? Yes, he said. From your employer. She snorted. I thought you were my boss, not my therapist. I'm not a therapist, he said. If I were, this house would be empty. This time she did smile. He held her gaze for another heartbeat, then walked away. She watched him go, heart pounding, whole body buzzing with leftover adrenaline, and something disturbingly close to curiosity. Working here was obviously a bad idea. But how often did someone like her get a glimpse into someone like him? A part of her, small and stubborn, wanted to see what he'd do next. By the third day, everyone in the mansion knew the boss was watching the new maid. It started small. A glance across the dining room. A pause near the grand staircase while she dusted the rail. A good morning, Amina. that he never gave any other staff member. People noticed. The kitchen staff whispered as she walked past. 2 bodyguards stopped talking every time she entered the room. One older maid, Gloria, with harsh lipstick and sharper eyes, gave her a once-over that felt like being filed under problem. Amina kept her head down and worked. She wiped mirrors, polished silver, scrubbed bathrooms that were nicer than any apartment she'd ever lived in. She reminded herself of her mother's smile when she'd told her about the job. "Baby, that kind of money isn't regular housework," her mother had warned. "You sure it's safe?" "It's a fancy rich man," Amina had replied, forcing cheer into her voice. "What's he going to do, throw caviar at me?" Now she knew the answer. No, he'd throw bullets at other people while standing like a wall between her and them. Every time she caught his gaze across a room, her stomach tightened. Not with fear, with something messier. One afternoon she was cleaning the glass doors of the indoor garden when his reflection appeared next to hers. "You missed a spot," Dominic said. She jumped, smearing the glass. "You can't sneak up on people like that. Don't your shoes make noise?" "I pay extra for silence," he said. "You're avoiding me." "I'm doing my job," she corrected. "Gloria says you refuse the staff lounge on break." "Gloria has opinions about everything," Amina muttered, "including how I breathe." "I don't pay her to monitor your breathing." "I'm pretty sure she does it for free." He stepped closer. "Why are you avoiding the lounge?" "Because they don't like me," she said bluntly. "They think I'm something I'm not." His gaze sharpened. "What do they think you are?" "The boss's new toy," she said flatly. "A maid with benefits, a temporary amusement. Choose your gossip." His jaw clenched. "Who said that? Does it matter?" "Yes," Dominic said, voice low. "Because I don't tolerate anyone harassing what's mine." She went very still, the word hanging between them like a spark. "What you own," she said slowly. "You think you own me?" His eyes locked on hers, steady, unflinching. "No, I think you work for me. But I also think this house, this staff, this organization, everything with my name on it, comes with my protection. That includes you." "You can't protect me from whispers," she said. "I can make them too afraid to speak," he replied. "That's not protection," she shot back. "That's control." He paused, studying her. "You don't like being controlled." "No, I don't." "Even when it keeps you safe." "Especially then," she said. "If safety means being someone's possession, I'll take my chances." Something fierce flickered in his eyes. Not anger, admiration. "You're the only one here who talks to me like that," he said quietly. "Someone has to remind you you're human," she muttered. He stepped even closer, lowering his voice. "Who says I am?" She swallowed. "I do. And your judgment matters because I'm the one who has to decide if staying here is worth it," she said. He studied her. "And what's your answer so far?" She hesitated. "I haven't decided yet." For the first time since she'd met him, Dominic looked almost uncertain. "Let me make it easier," he said. She raised a brow. "You can't bribe me." "I wasn't going to," he said. "I was going to ask what you need." That threw her. "What?" "Your mother's treatment," he said simply. "Marco ran your file. I know why you took this job. Tell me what she needs." She stiffened. "You had me checked out?" "I'd be stupid not to," he replied. "I don't let strangers into my house without knowing who they are." "Is that why you keep staring at me?" she demanded. "Background check wasn't enough, so now you're doing a full character study?" "I stare," he said, "because every time you open your mouth you surprise me. Maybe you need to get out more." He actually smiled, small, almost shy, gone in a second. "Maybe," he murmured. "Tell me what she needs, Amina." She shook her head. "I don't want your charity." "It wouldn't be charity. It would be an investment." "In what?" she said, folding her arms. "In you staying," he said simply. "In you not looking at that front gate like it's an escape route every morning." Her heart thudded painfully. "You notice that?" "I notice everything about you," he said quietly. She looked away, heat crawling up her neck. "That's creepy." "Honest," he countered. "But if it makes you uncomfortable, I'll stop." She glanced back at him sharply. "You'd actually stop?" "If you told me to," he said. The admission hung between them. A man who controlled everything, offering to restrain himself for her comfort. She exhaled slowly. "I don't know what to do with that." "You don't have to do anything," he said. "Just tell me what you want." She thought of hospital bills, of her mother's cough growing worse, the way she tried to hide her pain, of all the jobs that had paid pennies while demanding pounds of flesh. "I want," Amina bit her lip. "I want to be able to take care of my mother without having to be afraid of what's going to happen to me at work every day." "Done," he said. "It's not that simple." "Yes," Dominic said. "It is. I pay for her treatment. In return, you stay. You work. No one touches you. No one harasses you. You tell me when they do, and I'll handle it." "And in exchange," she asked, "you get what? My gratitude." His gaze deepened. "I get to keep the only person in this house who looks me in the eye." That scared her more than any bullet. "That's not fair," she whispered. "I'm not asking you to fall in love with me, Amina." The way he said it made her chest clench. "Good," she said, forcing lightness into her tone. "Because that's not happening." "As long as you're honest," he replied. "Always." "Then we understand each other," Dominic said, stepping back. "Think about my offer." "I don't like being bought," she said. "I'm not buying you," he said. "I'm buying time." "For what?" she asked before she could stop herself. His eyes didn't leave hers. "For you to see who I am when I'm not holding a gun." Her heart pounded. "What if I don't like him?" "Then you walk," he said quietly, "and I don't stop you." She searched his face, expecting to find a lie. She didn't. "Fine," she said. "I'll think about it." "Good. And in the meantime," she added, "you stop materializing behind me without warning. It's bad for my blood pressure." "I'll make more noise," he promised. "For you." It was ridiculous how those last 2 words warmed her. If the staff had hated her before, they despised her now. Gloria cornered her in the laundry room 2 days later, arms crossed. "You think you're smart," the older woman said. "Not particularly," Amina replied, folding a towel. "But I can read, count, and not trip over my own feet, so that's something." "You walk around like you're better than us," Gloria snapped. "Like you're untouchable." "No," Amina said calmly. "But apparently, he thinks I am, and that's not my fault." "You like that, don't you?" Gloria sneered. "Being his little project." "I like being able to pay my mother's hospital bills," Amina said evenly. "Everything else is noise." Gloria stepped closer. "Let me give you some free advice, girl. Women who catch the boss's eye don't last. One day he's interested. The next day he's bored. And when he's bored, there's nowhere in this city you can hide." Amina's stomach twisted. "Is that what happened to the last one?" she asked. "Because I keep hearing that phrase and no one explains." Gloria's eyes flicked toward the door, then back at her. The last maid who got too close thought she was special. She ended up moving out of town, quickly, quietly. Rumors say someone made it clear staying wasn't an option. "Dominic?" Amina whispered. Gloria scoffed. "The boss doesn't dirty his hands with that. That's what he has Luca for." The name made goosebumps rise on her arms. "I don't want to be close to him," Amina said. "I just want to stay alive and employed." Gloria shook her head. "You're already too close, the way he looks at you. Men like him don't look without intending to touch." "Maybe you should remind him of that instead of blaming me," Amina said, a sharpness entering her tone. "You think I'm stupid," Gloria hissed. "You think I'm going to tell Dominic Moretti who he can and can't flirt with?" Amina's jaw dropped. "He's not flirting with me." Gloria's lips twisted. "Keep telling yourself that." The door swung open suddenly. Luca stepped inside. He was tall, dark-haired, handsome in a colder way than Dominic. His eyes were darker too, more calculating, like he was constantly tallying scores in his head. "Gloria," he said without looking at the older woman. His gaze went straight to Amina. "Leave us." Gloria stiffened. "I was just—" "Now," Luca said. She scurried out, casting Amina one last, almost pitying look. The silence that followed was thick. Amina forced herself to stand straight, towel in hand. "If you're here to complain about my folding technique, please submit it in writing. I'm still waiting for my employee handbook." Luca didn't smile. "You think you're funny?" "Sometimes," she said. "Depends on the audience." He stepped closer. "The boss likes your mouth." Her skin crawled. "That's wildly inappropriate." "He likes the way you talk," Luca clarified, tone flat. "He likes that you don't fear him. It's making him distracted." "I'm not responsible for his focus," she said. "In this house?" Luca said. "You are responsible for how he sees you." She frowned. "What does that even mean?" "It means you need to disappear," he said quietly. "Go back to whatever you were doing before. This place isn't for you." "I'll decide that," Amina replied. Luca's eyes hardened. "No, you won't." He took a step closer, invading her space. She refused to back up. "What's your plan?" she demanded. "Scare me into quitting?" "If you're smart, yes," he said. "If you're not, then something unfortunate might happen. An accident, a misunderstanding, a moment of being in the wrong place at the wrong time." "Is that a threat?" she asked. "It's a forecast," he said. "A storm is coming, and the boss won't see it because he's too busy playing at being human in front of you." Her throat tightened. "You think he's playing? You think he's not?" Luca shot back. "How many people do you think are dead because he wanted something?" Amina swallowed hard. "I'm not blind. I know what he is." "Do you?" Luca said, leaning closer. "Because if you did, you wouldn't let him get attached." "I'm not letting him do anything," she said. "He's a grown man." "He's a weapon," Luca corrected. "And you are turning him into a weakness." Her heart thumped. "That's not my fault. In this life," Luca said lightly. "Fault doesn't matter. Outcomes do." He stepped back, eyes raking over her one last time. "Walk out now while you still can, Amina, before he's the reason you can't." He turned and left. Her hands were shaking so badly she dropped the towel. For the first time since she started working there, she genuinely considered not coming back from her next day off. She didn't quit. The next afternoon she walked back through the front gates, stomach twisted, nerves on fire. But she walked. Her mother needed the money. And something inside her needed answers. About Dominic. About this house. About the truth, buried under rumors and fear. She was dusting the shelves in the library when she felt his presence. "You came back," Dominic said from the doorway. She didn't turn around. "It's a job, isn't it?" "You were gone longer than your lunch break," he said. "Had an errand." He took a few steps inside, the faint rustle of his suit jacket the only sound. "What errand?" She stopped dusting. "You can't control where I go on my break." "No," he agreed, "but I can worry." She spun around. "Why?" "Because Luca talked to you," he said simply. Her heart skipped. "You knew." "I know everything that happens in my house," Dominic said. "Walls have ears. So do people." "So you know he told me to disappear?" "Yes. And you didn't stop him?" "If I had, you'd think I was controlling you," he said. "You'd run faster." She stared at him. "So you just let him threaten me?" "I let you hear what life around me really means," he said. "So when you decide whether to stay, you decide with open eyes." "That's messed up," she said, voice rising. "You put me in danger to make a point?" "I would never allow him to harm you," Dominic snapped, sudden steel in his tone. "Never." "He said accidents happen," she fired back. "He said storms were coming. You can't protect me from everything." "No," he said quietly, "but I can die trying." The raw sincerity in his voice startled her into silence. "You shouldn't say things like that," she whispered. "Why not?" he asked. "Because I might start believing you," she said. "And I can't afford that." He took a steadying breath. "Why did you come back, Amina?" "Because I don't run from bullies," she said. "And because I can't pay for my mother's dialysis with pride." "You could," he said. "If I don't, Amina, don't offer to fix everything again," she said, eyes blazing. "It scares me more than Luca does." He frowned. "Why?" "Because if you save me, I'll owe you," she said. "And owing a Mafia boss is worse than owing a bank." "Owing me doesn't mean what you think," he said. "Doesn't it?" she whispered. He closed the distance between them slowly, giving her time to step away. She didn't. "I don't want your body," he said softly. "If I did, I wouldn't be standing here asking. I'd take. That's what everyone expects of me." The quiet way he said it made her chest ache. "I don't want to own you," he continued. "I want you to choose to stay. I want you to yell at me when I'm being an ass. I want you to look at me the way you do, like I'm just a man who's too stubborn to sit down and rest." Her throat felt tight. "Why me?" He exhaled. "Because I can't remember the last time someone spoke to me without calculating what they'd get in return." "And you think I'm not calculating?" she said, forcing a weak smile. "Joke's on you. I'm constantly calculating. Rent versus groceries versus not losing my mind." He almost smiled back. "Let me help you balance the equation," he said, "with no strings attached." "There's always a string," she said. "Sometimes you just don't see it until it's around your neck." He studied her, then nodded slowly. "You're not wrong." "Exactly," she said. "So tell me what you need," he said, "and I'll find a way to give it without making you feel owned." "How?" she asked. He shrugged slightly. "Indirect funds, anonymous donations to the hospital, a promotion for you with higher pay. Call it what you want." She shook her head. "You really don't know how normal life works, do you?" "Enlighten me," he said. "In normal life, when a man offers to solve all your problems, it usually means he's about to cause more," she said. "And yet," Dominic murmured, "you're still talking to me. Because you make it hard to walk away, she blurted, then clapped a hand over her mouth. His eyes darkened. Say that again. No, Amina. No, she repeated. You're already too full of yourself. He took a breath like he was holding back 1,000 dangerous words. Has he bothered you again? He asked abruptly. Who, Luca? She said. No, he's been watching, but from a distance. I told him if he speaks to you without my presence again, he loses a finger, Dominic said. Her eyes widened. You what? He was expressionless. Thumbs are important. It's a clear incentive. That's not normal, she said. In my world? He said. It's generous. She stared at him. You really would mutilate someone for me? Yes, he said simply. Her stomach twisted, fear and something else mixing in a way that felt unfair. That's not romantic, she said, in case you were wondering. I didn't say it was, he said. It's practical. Practical is a raise and dental, she muttered. Not finger removal. His lips twitched. I'll have HR revise the benefits package. This time she laughed, a small strangled sound. He watched her, something warm flickering briefly in his eyes at the sound. And if I told you to stop threatening people on my behalf? She asked. I'd ask what you're willing to let me do instead, he replied. Keep me off the hit list, she said. You're already off it, he said. Then keep my mother off it too, she added quietly. He nodded once. Done. She searched his face. Just like that? Yes. Why? He didn't hesitate. Because when I pulled you behind that pillar, something in my head changed. I've been trying to pretend it didn't, but I don't have the energy to lie to myself anymore. Her heart was hammering now. Changed how? I've had loyalties, he said slowly. To my family, to my name, to the empire I built. But I've never had a weak point. He met her eyes. You are one. That's not a good thing, she whispered. For me, he said. But it might be the first good thing that's ever happened to me, too. She shook her head. Don't say things like that. Why? He asked softly. Because you'll believe me. Because I'll want to, she said. Silence stretched between them, thick and charged. Then he took a step back, breaking the tension. I have a meeting, he said, voice steady again. Luca will be there. I need to know where he stands. You think he'll try something? She asked. Yes. And you're going anyway? Yes. That's stupid, she said. It's necessary, he replied. This house can't stand if the foundation wants to crack. That's very poetic for someone who threatens to cut off thumbs, she muttered. He gave her a brief, genuine smile. You'll be safe while I'm gone. Marco will be on your floor. If anything feels wrong, call him. Don't get shot, she said suddenly. He paused. Is that concern? It's practicality, she said. Your hospitals probably have terrible bedside manner. He huffed a low laugh. I'll do my best to stay alive. You better, she muttered. I don't like unfinished business. He looked at her for a long moment, something unspoken passing between them. Then he turned and left. She watched him go, heart in her throat. She had no idea that by the time he came back, both their lives would be balancing on a knife's edge. The attack came that night. Not with gunfire this time. With silence. Amina was changing the sheets in one of the guest rooms when the lights flickered, then went out. She froze. Great, she muttered, because this day wasn't creepy enough. Emergency lights kicked in, bathing the hallway in dim red glows. She stepped into the corridor, hugging herself against the sudden chill. Hello, she called. Is this normal? No one answered. Her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Hello? Amina. Luca's voice slid through the speaker, cold and calm. Where are you? Her chest tightened. Why do you have my number? Dominic has files, he said. I have access. Where are you? Why? She asked. Because we're under lockdown, he said. Something's happening downstairs. Her heart stuttered. Is Dominic? He's fine, Luca said. For now. But some of the men who came tonight used staff uniforms. Everyone is being checked. You need to stay put or you might get mistaken. She swallowed. I'm in the 3rd floor guest hall. Good, he said. There's a room at the end of that hall. The one with the double doors. Go inside. Lock them. Wait. Wait for what? For things to be over, he said. I don't... The call dropped. She stared at the screen. Idiot, she whispered. Why did you even answer? She should call Marco, or Dominic, or someone who didn't sound like a cobra wearing a suit. Instead, she edged toward the double doors at the end of the hall. They loomed in the dim red light, heavy and ominous. Staff uniforms, she repeated under her breath. Great. So anyone could be anyone. She gripped the door handle. Amina. She spun, heart leaping. Luca stepped out of the shadows near the stairs, one hand in his pocket, the other holding a gun loosely at his side. Her blood went cold. You said you were downstairs. I was, he said. Things changed. Is Dominic okay? She demanded. For the moment. What's happening? She asked. He smiled, slow and thin. Exactly what I told you would happen. The storm's here. Fear prickled along her spine. This isn't the time for metaphors. No, he agreed. It's the time for choices. He raised the gun slightly, not aimed at her. Yet. Walk into that room, he said calmly, and stay out of the way. And if I don't, then I'll drag you, he said. You'll just be bruised. What's really happening, Luca? She asked, voice shaking. Dominic's losing his edge, he said. He's making mistakes, hesitating where he used to strike. Men are noticing. Rivals are noticing. We need a leader, not a lovesick fool. Her heart stumbled. He's not. You think he doesn't look at you like you hung the moon? Luca said coldly. He's willing to risk the entire operation to keep you comfortable. That makes you a liability. I didn't ask for that, she shot back. That's the problem, he said. You don't have to ask. You exist. And he rearranges his priorities. That's unacceptable. She swallowed hard. So you're what? Staging a coup? He gave a little shrug. Call it a correction. And what happens to me? She whispered. If you do as I say, nothing, Luca replied. You disappear afterward. He never sees you again. You get a second chance at life. You should thank me. And if I don't cooperate? He looked down at the gun, then back at her. Why push me to answer questions you already know the answer to? Her hands trembled. Luca, she said, forcing herself to sound steadier than she felt. This won't end the way you think. No, he said. What do you think will happen then? I think Dominic will kill you, she said. And I think he'll never forgive himself. That's the point, Luca said. If I can't fix the man he's becoming, I can at least make sure he lives with the consequences. You're insane, she whispered. Maybe, he said. Maybe I'm just loyal to the man he used to be. He gestured with the gun. Room. Now. She stared at him. Then, instead of obeying, she bolted. Amina sprinted down the hall, heart in her throat. Luca cursed and gave chase. Her shoes skidded on the polished floor as she rounded the corner, grabbing the railing of the servants' staircase. A gunshot cracked behind her. Pain seared across her upper arm. She screamed, hand flying to the hot, wet burn. "Don't make me aim for something vital," Luca called. She stumbled down the stairs, breath ragged, fingers slick with her blood. The emergency lights painted everything in a nightmare glow. Halfway down, a figure crashed into her from below. Strong hands caught her before she fell. "Amina." Dominic's voice was rough, more emotion in it than she'd ever heard. "You're hurt." "Just my arm," she gasped. "Luca." "I know," he said, pulling her behind him. His face was harder than stone, eyes colder than ice. "Stay behind me." Luca appeared at the top of the stairs, gun trained on them. "Dominic," he said. "Finally." "Luca," Dominic replied, voice deadly calm. "You shot her." "You weren't supposed to be here yet," Luca said, ignoring the accusation. "You were supposed to be in the basement, arguing with the men I paid to delay you." "You should have offered them more," Dominic said. They folded quickly. "Because they're cowards," Luca snapped. "They follow the scent of fear, not power. And you stink of fear now, boss." Dominic didn't flinch. "Put the gun down." "You first," Luca said. Dominic's own gun was in his hand, steady at Luca's chest. Amina pressed against the wall, arm throbbing, breath shallow. "Please," she whispered, "don't do this." "Stay out of it," both men said at once. "Of course," she muttered, "because I love being a prop." "This is between us," Luca said, stepping down one stair, closing the distance. "You and me. Like it always should have been." "You chose this," Dominic said. "I gave you everything. I pulled you off the street, put a gun in your hand, made you my right hand. I trusted you. And then you threw it away for a girl with pretty eyes." Luca spat. Dominic's jaw tightened. "This isn't about her." "It's entirely about her," Luca said. "You started sparing people after she arrived. You started questioning jobs. You canceled a hit last week because she was in the building. You're getting soft." "I'm getting careful," Dominic said. "You're getting sentimental," Luca said. "That gets us all killed." "Us?" Dominic's voice dropped. "You mean you?" "If I die," Luca said, "it'll be because you let someone carve a crack into your armor." He nodded toward Amina. "You think they won't use her? Every rival, every enemy? They'll go for her throat first." "They won't touch her," Dominic said. "Not if you're dead," Luca shot back. Silence stretched, thick and electric. Then Luca smiled, slow, cruel. "I figured it out," he said. "The only way to fix you is to break you, completely. Then maybe the old Dominic will crawl out of the pieces." He shifted his aim. Not at Dominic, at Amina. Time slowed. She saw his finger tighten on the trigger, heard Dominic snarl her name. Instinct took over. Amina shoved herself sideways, slamming into Dominic's back just as Luca fired. The shot went wide, shattering the wall instead of Dominic's chest. Dominic's reply was instant. His gun roared, once. Luca staggered, eyes wide, hand flying to the blooming red on his chest. "Oh," Luca whispered, almost surprised. "You still shoot straight?" He stumbled back against the railing, breath rattling. Dominic stood frozen, gun still raised, eyes locked on the man he'd just shot. The man who'd been his brother in everything but blood. Luca laughed once, dry and bitter, blood on his teeth. "Look at that. She really is your weakness." He dropped the gun. Then he dropped, sliding down the stairs to the landing, body limp. Silence. Dominic lowered his weapon slowly, staring at Luca's body. Something in his face crumpled. Not visibly, not fully, but enough that Amina felt it like a punch. "Dominic," she whispered. He didn't move. "Dominic." she repeated, stepping closer despite the pain in her arm. He looked at his hand, still holding the gun, like he didn't recognize it. He would have killed you, she said. I know, Dominic said softly. He would have killed me, she added, his jaw clenched. I know. Then why do you look like someone just shot you? She asked. Because he was all I had, Dominic said. Until you. Her throat tightened. Don't put that on me. You threw yourself in front of me, he said, voice rough. You got shot because of me. Again. I'll live, she said. I think. You shouldn't have to risk living for me, he whispered. Too late, she said. He finally looked at her, eyes raw in a way that terrified her more than anything. I told him you were my weak point, Dominic said. I told him if anyone touched you, I'd... He broke off, swallowing hard. You didn't kill him because he was right, Amina said. You killed him because he left you no choice. People like me always have a choice, he said. We just don't like the cost. Blood dripped from her fingertips, pattering softly on the floor. I'm going to pass out, she announced faintly. That snapped him out of it. He holstered the gun in one sharp motion and grabbed her uninjured arm. Stay with me, he ordered. Don't close your eyes. Boss, Marco's voice called from the bottom of the stairs. What the hell? He stopped when he saw Luca's body and Amina's bloody arm. Get the doctor to the 3rd floor, Dominic said, voice snapping back into command. Now! Marco vanished. Amina swayed. Dominic tightened his grip. You're okay, he said. You're okay. You keep saying that, she murmured. But the universe keeps disagreeing. He actually huffed a breath that might have been a laugh if his eyes weren't so haunted. He gently pressed his hand over the wound, applying pressure. She hissed, jaw clenching. Sorry, he said. Don't apologize, she muttered. Just keep me from bleeding all over your fancy stairs. He stared at her for a long moment, then shook his head. You're incredible. I'm in shock, she corrected. Everything's funny in shock. Amina? Yeah? He hesitated, then said quietly, Thank you. For what? She asked weakly. For choosing me in that second, he said, even when you keep saying you shouldn't. Her lips trembled. Don't make it sound noble. It was reflex. You were in front of me. Reflexes tell the truth, he said. She blinked slowly. My arm is on fire. Good, he said. That means you're still here. The house buzzed into frantic motion around them. Men rushing, hushed voices, heavy footsteps. Dominic didn't move from her side. When the doctor finally arrived, Dominic refused to let anyone else hold her still as they cleaned and bandaged the wound. She bit back screams, nails digging into his palm. He didn't flinch. You're crushing my hand, he murmured. You've crushed my whole week, she gasped. We're even. He smiled, barely. Fair enough. By the time they finished, her head spun. You'll be fine, the doctor said. The bullet grazed you. No major damage. Emotionally? She muttered. Can't help you there, the doctor said, leaving. Dominic lifted her carefully, ignoring her protests, and carried her down the hall. This is unnecessary, she said. You're bleeding through your bandage, he replied. You're not walking anywhere. You're bossy. Yes. He carried her into a bedroom she'd never been in before. It wasn't ostentatious like some of the guest suites. It was darker, more lived in. A jacket tossed over a chair, a book open on the nightstand. His room. Nope, she said immediately. I'm not staying in here. It's the closest and safest, he said, setting her gently, on the bed. The door locks from the inside and outside. Only I have the key. That doesn't make me feel better, she said. It should. What if I need the bathroom? She asked. There's one through that door, he said, nodding left. You really thought of everything, she muttered. Occupational hazard, he said. She stared at him as he stood there, looking strangely unsure of what to do with his hands. You okay? She asked quietly. No, he said, but I will be once I know you're okay. You're ridiculously dramatic, she said. You're bleeding because of me. Again, he repeated. And yet I'm still here, she said. Why? He asked. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Tell me, he pressed. I need to hear it. She sighed, leaning back against the pillows. Because you pulled me behind that pillar. Because you choose me first, every time things go to hell. Because when Luca aimed at me, you looked more terrified than I've ever seen you look. That's not a reason to stay, he said. It is for me, she said. I don't trust men easily, Dominic, but I trust fear. Yours is very honest. He let out a breath that sounded suspiciously like relief. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. Do what? She asked. This, he said, gesturing between them. Care about someone in a way that doesn't involve power or leverage. Her chest clenched. You care about me? He looked at her like she'd asked if the sky was still there. Yes, he said simply. I try not to. I fail every day. She stared at him. You shouldn't say things like that. I know, he said. But tonight I almost lost you. Twice. I'm done pretending. He stepped closer to the bed. I told Luca I would never let anyone hurt you, he said. He called that a weakness. Maybe he was right. But if loving you makes me weak, then I'm already ruined, Amina. Her breath left her in a rush. You don't love me. Tell me I'm wrong, he said, eyes searching hers. Tell me I haven't thought of you every second since the moment you crashed onto my foyer floor. Tell me my heart didn't stop when I saw your blood tonight. Trauma, she whispered. Adrenaline. And yesterday? He asked. And the day before that? And every time I hear your laugh from 3 rooms away and feel my shoulders loosen for the first time all day. She swallowed. Dominic, this is insane. We're insane. I know, he said. But I've built an entire life on calculated insanity. This is the first thing that's ever felt honest. Her eyes stung. You can't just decide this. I can, he said quietly. And I have. I'm not asking you to match it. I'm asking you to hear it, to know it. She pressed her uninjured hand over her eyes. I don't do this. I don't fall for men with guns and empires and enemies. I fall for guys who forget to text back. Upgrade, he said. She laughed, choked and shaky. You're impossible. Yes. He gently took her wrist, pulling her hand away from her face. Her eyes were bright, cheeks damp. He brushed one tear away with his thumb. You're beautiful when you're angry, and when you're scared, and when you're telling me I'm wrong. Don't say that, she whispered. Why not? Because it feels good, she said. And things that feel good around you tend to attract bullets. I'll stand between you and every bullet, he said, for the rest of my life. She searched his face. Don't you dare say things like that, unless you're sure. I've never been more sure of anything, he said. Silence stretched, thick with everything neither of them knew how to say properly. Finally, she exhaled. What if I don't know how I feel yet? Then we wait, he said. I'm patient when it matters. You're not. For you, he said. I will be. He leaned down, slower than she'd ever seen him move, giving her a chance to stop him. She didn't. His lips brushed her forehead, warm and steady. "I told you that night," he murmured, "when I pulled you behind that pillar. Survive and complain in the morning." She let out a watery laugh. "I remember." "Well," he said softly, "it's night again, and you survived again. So here's my revised line." He lifted her chin gently so she had to look at him. "I will make you mine tonight," he said, voice low and certain. "Not with chains, not with debt, with truth, with time. With every choice you make to stay, one day at a time." Her heart hammered against her ribs. "Don't make promises like that," she whispered. "I don't break promises," he said. "Not to you." She closed her eyes, letting the weight of his words sink in. "When I'm terrified tomorrow," she said quietly, "when you're back to barking orders and talking about hits and security and my world this, my world that, will you still say this?" "Yes," he said without hesitation. "And if I need to walk away," she added, "for my sanity, for my mother, for my own soul, will you let me?" His throat worked. "Yes, even if it kills me." Her chest ached. "You make it very hard to protect my heart," she said. "I'm trying to earn it," he replied, "not steal it." She opened her eyes. "Then start with one thing," she said. "Anything." "No more bullets near me," she said. "I don't care what you have to do. Clean up your mess so I don't have to scrub blood out of the tiles." His lips twitched. "Deal." "And no touching my mother," she added quickly. "No visits, no guards, no intimidation. Just anonymous help. Quietly." "Done," he said. "She'll never feel my presence. Only the relief of not worrying about money." "And your staff?" she asked. "They're going to hate me." "They'll learn," he said, "or they'll leave." "You can't fire people because they don't like your crush," she said. "I can and I will," he said. "But I'll try diplomacy first." She sighed. "You're ridiculous." "I've heard worse," he said. They stared at each other, the air between them fragile and full. "Sleep," he said finally. "We'll argue more in the morning." "Are you staying here?" she asked. "Outside the door," he said. "On the chair." "You?" She almost smiled. "On a chair?" "I've had worse nights," he replied. "Stay inside," she said before she could second-guess it. "On the couch. I don't want to wake up alone." Something softened in his eyes. "As you wish." She settled under the blanket, exhaustion finally dragging her down. As she drifted, she heard him pull a chair closer to the couch, heard his quiet murmur. "I'm here," he said. "I'm not going anywhere." For once, she believed him. If you want to know how their story unfolds, if Amina truly lets Dominic into her heart, if he can protect her without losing himself completely, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your favorite moment, and like this video so we can keep bringing you more stories like I Will Make You Mine Tonight. Mafia boss falls for his stunning new black maid.